Okay, we all left off in one of the bedrooms. That's the electrical room because there's no light coming out of it. And it's got no window in it. The only room in the house that hasn't got a window. And next to that would be the pantry there, and then the kitchen. Okay. This is showing the as cast shape of the window outlets. They all taper bigger from here to there, even with this ledge in there. The security grill butts up against that ledge, and then it gets the bolts get drilled straight into the wall. This has got the welded wire mesh, but obviously no render because it'd be all ragged from the render, and there's no render on the inside. And this one, when this picture was taken, there's no 2-inch wire mesh on the inside. And that's about all you can see there other than out towards Pandoy's store. And this is the homemade scaffold back here. This is going to be our water cistern, 37,000 plus gallons. And you notice all this crookedness. Somehow the camera does that. Same thing up here. It makes it look like there's waves in this welded wire mesh. It's definitely going to be me that did it, but I just don't know how I did it, so I don't know how to correct it. Oh, this is the helical stairs walking in off of the where the lanais are. And here's the workroom for the metal security grills. We'll see some of them in a while. And this was the original idea. We were going to have a circle around here with a fireman's pole, but we're getting close to 80 years old. Thought that might not be such a good idea. Didn't think we would want to use it once it was done. And then you have the problem if somebody brings their children for a visit, you couldn't have kept them away from it. These stair treads, they're 20 inches deep on the outside and about 7 inches over here. But in the middle, there's a toe kick that goes back 2.5 inches underneath of the tread. So you have for going up the stairs, your whole foot is on the step, unlike a lot of spiral stairs. The helical stairs, because you're going out from the axis, like if this was a spiral stairs centered over here someplace, and it was this wide, that's as wide as the widest part of a step would ever be. But we just did away with that part of the circle. We start off at a pretty good width. You can walk up and down this over here. Down the outside is the way to go. You know, about from here over to there. It's full size of your foot. You got plenty of space all around it. You can be not watching where you're going and you won't fall down them. Also, this just shows the roughness of the concrete as cast. This top up here, we couldn't get in there to trowel it or finish it or level it. That's just whatever shape the little blocks were that we stuck on top as we went. And we're going to see some more pictures of these treads down here with round holes in them. We'll explain that when we get to them. This wasn't supposed to be full of concrete. This is the shape like that over there. So Boyette knocked that out when he went to render it and made it look like it's supposed to be. Water cistern. Tell from the angle it is to the house. That's the water cistern. Now this edge on the concrete is probably just every bit as crooked as it looks. I don't think that's camera distortion, because we weren't being real careful about wrapping this form around the outside. It's give or take 1/2 inch any place you are. It's not a smooth curve. But he gets a concrete molding cast on it, and that's where we make all that up. And they're working on the thing that does that when the lockdown came. So when we get where we can go back to work, then that's high on the list, that and using the slip forms. Okay, there will be another set of stairs. These are going to be a big, round, sweeping set of stairs. I need to make this smaller because you can't see what's going on. Still can't see. I had the camera turned the wrong way. I didn't know it made a difference. And some of these pictures are 2-3 years old. This is an upper window. They're only 37 inches across, and the bottom ones are 62. This is the full width, 4 foot something wide door. This is the exterior door from the stairwell room out to this lanai number 1. And there'll be this big curved sweeping stair things. They'll have a mono stringer in the middle, concrete mono stringer. And there's about a dozen bars hanging out of the ceiling up here that'll anchor that. That's because I saw James Tanner at Villa Feliz have a monostringer stairs. I said, hey, we can do that, because we hadn't got to it yet. So we stole that from him. We stole a lot of ideas from him. I didn't copy the PPR pipe, but I copied everything else I liked. These up here, they get cut off after the render, and there's going to be a 3/4 inch rod coming down here. 2 of them into the stair tread. Now this, like this bolt here, will go into the nose of one tread and into the heel of the other tread. This will be the nose of the current tread and the heel of the one below it. So, like the step would go between these two things. And they're that big. They really are that big. And this is the inner diameter, so you can tell how wide the treads will be right here to absolute inside edge. And then we're going to put stainless tubing over top of these to dress them up. But they're going to support the treads, and all the monostringer really does is keep them from swinging in and out. Of course, it would be self-supporting. You wouldn't need these up here, but we have to have a handrail. And to roll a handrail, we have a roller. I'll show it to you in a later picture. We can roll pipe that big and even bigger. But when you roll pipe, you have to twist it while you roll it. And once you put the first bend in it, it's really hard to twist it while it's in the roller. And those two things have to come together to make a curved handrail. So you really need something that grabs the end of the pipe and turns it in proportion to how far it's traveled. I'm sure they got some kind of machine that does that in Manila, but we're not going to try it. We're going to use these vertical rods for the handrail, and we're going to put garden post top caps on the helical stairs as like grab holds instead of having a rail following the shape of that wall. Mostly because we have them, because it's easy. We're not afraid of easy. Oh, on this, our artist who built the guys down there in the nativity room, he thought we were going to go right to paint on this house. So in the space of a day and a half or 2 days, he covered 1/4 of the outside. Any place that was an imperfection or the hint of honeycomb, or the seam where, like you can tell this was a seam between forms because they're just straight lines up and down. And this is where a form met a post, and that has that little defect in the middle in here. But he's an artist, and he's a perfectionist, and he just wouldn't be denied. So we finally got him redirected onto a different project. But that's what those are, is anything he didn't like about the shape of the concrete. Oh, infamous spider beam. There's a regularly spaced thing of things around here. That's 4-inch pipe that goes up through the thing, not to the top of it, because it'd be 24 and 8, 32 inches of depth of concrete, but they go up about 2 feet. And there's 3/4 conduit going one to the next. There's 3/4 conduit going from this to the outside of the beam. There's 3/4 conduit going down over here and into the post. 570 feet of conduit in this spider beam. But the outer ring, and this is one of them here. The 1, 2, 3. This pipe and this pipe are something different. This pipe also. These two are something different too. These are what we call manifolds, where we have like 10 or 12 pipes. They all need to go to a box in the wall. We don't run 10 pipes over there and try to stuff them all into that box. We run the 10 pipes to a common pipe, and this one goes right up through the top of the slab with a PVC cleanout plug over it. And the bottom will eventually have a cap screwed to the concrete, painted the same color as the roof. And we have that whole house fan, all that bracketry's up in here. It'll disguise it pretty well. But these get can lights, LED can lights. And the 2 dots here in the middle, those are 3/4 PVC pipe that goes right up the whole 32 inches and out the top. That's for the through bolts that are going to mount the fan housing, the fan flange. It's like a flange goes around this whole roof here. And we saved these 2 pieces of phenolic board. That was the parting line there. You can tell the artist has been here. And we know which side was up because the hose is drilled from the top, and that splintered the wood on the bottom. So the splintered side of the hose goes down. And once you know that, you get them both down. Then it's just a matter of lining up the 2 holes here where the seam of the plywood was and the other end to get the rotation and the distance left to right of one sheet compared to the other sheet. And from those holes, we got the center because somebody cut this off and plugged it with cement. So we didn't have it anymore. We could have figured it out, but it was easier just to do it on the workbench. We also have little wiring boxes out here, and those got floodlights. So you have 10 floodlights here and 10 can LED lights. I don't know, 24 LEDs in each of them, like 9 watts each. And then there's 2 more rings of lights in this room. Up through the ceiling here, outside of this ledge, out over in there, there's also another ring of the same exact floodlight that we're using in these ones here. They're repeated out there. Same color also. They're not going to be the same color of the paint. You'll be able to see them. They're not going to be blended into the paint. And there's a ring of lights underneath of here. And then outside of these windows, there's another ring of lights. Those are security things. And they're also the same fixture. We got those at All Home for 770 pesos a piece. They had 5 in stock. I needed, I don't know, 40. And I said, can you get more? And they says, yeah, they checked the warehouse. You can get all you want. So I said, well, order us another 20 of them. And then we decided we'd just start using them a lot of places. I got some Hubble Bell lights that looked like them, except they're die-cast aluminum. And these are engineered plastic that we're using inside the house. So the Hubble Bells went on the outer security ring of lights on the living quarters. This looks like rooms, but it's not rooms. This wall's 12 or 14 feet, and it's about 10 feet deep. It looks like a room, but it's not a room. There is a catwalk around this. The middle's open. There's a catwalk with a handrail. But these are air openings, part of the whole house fan. The fan's going to be up here running around this ring, just below that ring. And the motor is built onto the shaft up here. We're building our own motor too. Building the housing, building the bearing shells, building everything. Not shell. The Timken bearings are bought, but the pieces of metal that they fit into are not. We're making them. And this up here has no skim coat. None of this is skim coated because you can tell where the artist went by and fixed what he didn't like. He found something there he didn't like too. 2 places. Must have been a sheet of plywood with the edge up. You know, probably 1/8 of an inch, and he couldn't stand that. Just down here below your vision. Yeah. Tilt the cracker box. This is an 8-foot by 8-foot table you're going to be seeing later. This is where they built all the ornamental iron, built right in the house. We probably have videos of them forming the metal. Oh, we're getting to it right away. Didn't need to tilt the camera. Okay, what do we got? This is a blue crab. And here's one of his claws coming out. And here's his other claw over here. He's caught him a dead fish. And these are his crabby legs going out the back. And I'm not sure what that is. I don't remember the picture. But this crab, that's the back legs, swim fins of a crab. I don't know what that is. Huh. Anyway, here's how we do these things. We got holes in the table, and we put a block of metal, and you'll see Boyette making those in a couple pictures down the way. We drop a bolt in there. We roll the rings in our pipe roller, which is not in this particular frame. And we roll them halves, and a little more than half. And then we put the two halves together, weld one end, and pull them around right over top of the line, cut the last piece with a angle grinder, and stick it together. And then there's an angled piece of flat bar, same as this flat bar, that goes up. Makes a sort of, not U-shape, slanted back sides, like trapezoid with no top. And that lets this mounting block be near the face of the ironwork, and we can put a, what they call it, a tall nut or a coupling nut or whatever. It's welded all the way around on the back of this. And then the piece that anchors it in the wall bolts onto that. And then you get a decorative bolt in the front of the hole. The reason for the hole is to get everything exactly the same so we can switch one window for another one. If we want to work on one, we'll have a spare, you know, we can take it down and get it sandblasted and painted or whatever. We're going to try to galvanize these things, but with this stage 4 lockdown, you know, money goes quick, and I don't think we had the money to galvanize them. We got them all cleaned up for galvanized. It's a damn shame. But I don't think we had the money to do it. Okay, here's a delivery of delivery 2 or 3 on flat bar. You get a better price when you buy more than 5. This is the thicker flat bars that are used for the rims on things. We bought all those at the same time for the whole job, and then we only had to concentrate on buying one kind, because this is not a stock item. Yeah, you can see my pointer. And over here, this is a stock item most places. This is a view across the street. This is it's a town or settlement of Isaiahville. It's also called the Shoreline Community by the people who are trying to pretend they own it, but they don't. This was put up by Jimmy Carter, President of the United States, and he worked on this site. And these people worked there 400 hours in construction. And because of the extreme poverty in the Philippines, it was not to qualify for a zero-interest loan. It was to qualify to pay for your house. Donations paid for the houses. The 4 Ps and some churches and other things paid for the houses. And some corporation claimed they bought the land. And I don't know who owned the land. They may have been able to buy the land, but they sure can't buy the houses. Anyway, they come by and they wanted to see everybody's paperwork, and they had them bring them up there. And they carried all the paperwork away and did away with it. Only 2 or 3 people that weren't available to bring them paperwork that day have any paperwork proving they own their house. So they've been trying to evict all these people, 220 homes back in there. They've been trying to evict them so they can charge rent on the housing. And in Laguna last week, just before the lockdown, they had a court hearing, and the judge looked over at these people and said, "You don't own these houses." And not only that, you've been illegally charging rent on houses you don't own. And this is a felony, and you're in big trouble. So the sentencing hearing and the fines haven't come down yet because of the lockdown. But I think these people can finally start to relax, that they're not going to be thrown out into the street from their own home. Anyway, this is a jeepney waiting station, but we only get like 2 jeepneys a day up here, morning for going to work and night after we've already left, so we never really see that. This is a tricycle driver's shed, and there's probably 8 to 10 tricycles usually parked, like here's one right here. They're parked over here behind this bush, and they park on the right over there. Hardly ever over on this side is out in the sun. They park in the shade. Anyway, that's our front view. You just saw that flat bar in the previous picture. It was not bent like this. Look what somebody did in that little bit of time. They bent all my flat bar. You can tell how high these roofs are because that's a banana tree that we've already harvested bananas once, and I don't think I see another branch growing right there. Sometimes they grow down closer below the roof. Bananas grow here, and okra and cassava, and virtually nothing else but weeds. There's another view of our recently bent flat bar, happened in the last 30 seconds. That's our kubo down there. This is the house for the people building the house. Boy, that's got a bakery in that side over there, and Boy was living in this half of 42 square meters, but he's moved into the spare bedrooms up here in the front. Him and his wife kind of want a little more privacy, and plus the other brothers have found other places they live. They're not living this part of the house anymore, so it's pretty much got it to himself. Cistern. No, fish pond. This is a fish pond. It's almost square to the house, and this was a chicken and egg production place, and then people complained about the flies from the chicken poo all over the place, and the local government closed them down. Some Chinese bought a place right over here and put the same thing up, except it's elevated. And a year later, after they were in production, they come by and said, "You can't have that. We already closed these people down. What would make you think you could have that?" So they got some stay of the court order, and they built another chicken house back somewhere over in here, pretty good ways from the road. And everything was quiet for about a year. And then we go by now, and it smells like a pig pen. They've taken that structure and put pigs underneath of it. So I don't know which was worse. The chickens you didn't know were there, except the white feathers flying around, or hogs. But we can't smell either one of them. This is, the camera just turned around a little bit, same fish pond. This is the road out front. The quarry trucks don't run on this part of the road, so until you get down to where one of the entrances for one of the quarries is, right around this turn. And from there on, the road goes to absolute crap. It's doesn't have rebar in it. It's only 6 inches thick. So when they started running quarry trucks on it, pieces 3 feet by 5 and 2 by 2, they broke out, and one corner would go down and tilt, and the other corner up. So you come by there on a motorcycle and get forced into a vertical piece of 6-inch concrete, or the crack between two seams that's opened up and your tire goes down in it, and then you can't steer. So it's a pretty miserable place to drive. Worst road I've seen in the Philippines anywhere, and we got it. Hey, if you're going to have something that's the worst, make it be the worst. Don't be like Steubenville, Ohio. They got declared to be the second dirtiest city in the United States. They sued the government. They said, "Look, if you're going to call us a filthy, dirty community, we want to be number one. We want to be the dirtiest city in the United States. You know, to hell with Akron. We want to be that city." So they changed it to Steubenville, Ohio was the dirtiest city. That's the home of some singer named Dean Martin, among other things. And this is the stairwell room. Most of these rooms look the same on the outside. I just tell by what the landscape is which one this is. This is the amount of our minimum overhang on our roof is this right here. Everything else is that much or more. And of course the camera makes this look like a steep turn around here. Okay, this video is long enough. There must be more pictures because we haven't got into the plumbing ones. So we're going to try to pause this and take it up again.